What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Veteran Sports Cards. Today I've got another SGC grade reveal video. This is one of two 20 card orders that I had submitted to SGC. This one's going to be vintage, mostly vintage. I think there are 2 or 3 1987 Topps cards in there, which I personally would consider those, the beginning of the junk wax era. Anything 86 and earlier, I kind of consider vintage. I could be wrong. I don't know. But that's just my personal thoughts on the matter. But anyway, like I said, I've got 20 vintage cards from SGC, or graded by SGC. And I am very excited to see these grades. Anxious. Obviously, they're vintage cards, so I never ever expect to get any 10s or 9.5s. 9s are pretty tough to come by as well. So as long as we can stick around like 7s and 8s, because I got some 1976 Topps and 1980, 81, 85. Got a couple of USFL cards: Steve Young, Jim Kelly. I think I put one more in there. I think I put a Reggie White in there. Steve Young, Jim Kelly, Reggie White on the USFL, 1985 USFL. So I don't have any 84 USFL cards. That would be really cool if I did, but we will see how we did. So let's get right into it. They always put those little bags around the top and the bottom. Not a huge fan of that. Let's see, where's the front? Like I said, not the biggest fan of those card bags, but we deal with it. Put that there. Go ahead and get this invoice out of here. Least favorite part of doing this is taking these rubber bands off and all that, but that part is done now. So now we can just get right into the grades. This first card, I've got a couple of baseball. Not real big into collecting baseball, but this one looked really nice. I had the whole set of 1982 Fleer baseball, and I had already sent the Cal Ripken Jr. rookie card in a while back, a few months ago, and that one came back. I think it was an 8, but I already sold it. So this one, I'm gonna take it out of the bag. Actually, so this was Ricky Henderson. It looked really nice, and it's 9.5. Wow, sweet. That's really great. 1982 Fleer. Wasn't expecting to get anything higher than like 7 or 8 on any of these cards. So this 9.5, that's shocking, pretty much. I'm gonna go ahead and start using these stands. I mean, I put them out here, might as well use them, right? Well, let's try not to blind anyone. This one you may have seen in a previous PSA grade reveal video where PSA refused to grade, or I say refused to grade it like they were arguing with me. They sent it back ungraded and unholdered for minimum size requirement issue, but SGC graded it, as you can see, in a slab, and it gets an 8. That's been kind of a common theme whenever I have a card that I send to PSA and they send it back. min size requirement, I send to SGC, and it usually comes back like an 8. But there were a couple 1989 Pro Set, Deion Sanders and Troy Aikman, that did a little better than 8s. If you want to check that video out, it is available. See what grades we got on those. So there's going to be the start of my 8 pile. Well, I don't think I need to leave room for a 10 pile, but you know what? Let's leave room for a 10 pile because stranger things have happened. All right, here is a 1976 Randy White Topps Randy White rookie card. Got an 8. That's pretty good. So that's about the top end of where I expected any of these cards to be. So I'll definitely take an 8. Here is a 76 Topps Ed Too Tall Jones rookie card. Looked to be in pretty similar condition, and it also got an 8. Never going to complain about that. So that's pretty awesome. Got one more, 76. This is just a Jack Youngblood. It's not a rookie. As far as I know, I don't think it's his first card. Obviously, you can see he's been playing since 71, but anyway, this one looked pretty good to me, and yeah, 8.5. So it's hard to come by 76 Topps that the centering isn't just completely skewed to one side or the other. But I'll take an 8.5 on that for sure. Here is a 1980 Joe Theismann. Pretty much sent this one in for the same reason. The centering was really good. It's not like, a special card or anything. 1980, I've got the complete set of 1980 and a bunch of extras. I had an extra Joe Theismann, and this one, the centering was really good, so sent it in, got an 8.5. So you can see how thin those borders get all the way around it, and to have it, look at least decently centered was pretty rare on the ones that I have anyway. Now I've got a couple of these Phil Simms rookie cards, 1980 Topps. Centering on these was not as good, but yeah, surely that. Oh hell, we've got a mark. We got a bad corner. All right, yeah, all right, 5.5. Fair play. I probably should have looked at that a little bit better. Here is another Phil Simms. I just now noticed. Is that staining? Something. It looks like a stain up there in the top left corner. Oh, this one got a 7.5. So that's actually way better. And I will take that all day. Not mad about a 7.5. Not really mad about a 5.5, but it's less awesome. Here's a 1980 Walter Payton. I basically have all of Walter Payton's cards all the way up through. His last card was actually 1988 Topps. He didn't get a base card, but he got a 87 Record Breakers card, and that was his last card in that era. And so think I'm probably gonna shoot one of every year through to SGC. I've already done the 76 Topps rookie card. I've got the 77, 78, 79. Here is 80. And it got a 7. So you can see the centering. There's not much room to move before it, falls out of the 55, 45 range. So, but we take a 7 for sure. Here is a 1981 Art Monk rookie card. Same situation. Centering looked good, and the centering never looks good on these. I've gotten about 7 or 8 Joe Montana rookie cards graded with PSA. 1.6, mostly 7s, and 1.8. And I'm pretty sure they were all influenced by the centering, but this Art Monk looked pretty well centered. Nice. Got an 8.5 but you can see the centering I'm talking about is, you know, the thin borders like that, it gets real easy to fall outside of the range. SGC and PSA use that same range, but these corners looked really sharp, really nice, and thought it would look good in a tux rather than a PSA slab. As I've said multiple times before, I'm a fan of vintage cards in the SGC, so a lot of people are like, well, why do you use SGC? Why do you grade with SGC? And it's usually going to be these vintage cards. I'll throw one off, you know, modern card here or there, but most of the vintage stuff is going to go to SGC, just personal preference. Here's a 1982 Joe Montana. This one got a 7. Looking at it now, looks pretty high up on the card, so centering very likely a factor in that grade. Corners were good though. Edges looked pretty nice, so I'm going to chalk that up to a poorly centered card, but a 7 we take. Here is a 1982 Ronnie Lott rookie card. This one gets a 6. Well, I gotta make room for a 6 pile now. It's not bad looking. Okay, so here come the 1985 USFL cards. Here's the Steve Young. None of these looked that great, but they looked pretty cool, and they didn't look too terrible. So I went ahead and sent in, like I said, Steve Young, Reggie White, and Jim Kelly. So let's see how we did. 7.5, Steve Young. So this centering looks pretty off, a little too close to the top of the card. 7.5 though, we take. Here is the Reggie White, 85 USFL, 8.5. Nice, I like that. And our good friend Jim Kelly. Really wish he could have won one of those Super Bowls. But anyway, oh, nice. This one got a 9. So I got to tell you, the centering on all three kind of looked very similar. So there must have been something else on that Steve Young card to keep it lower. All right, here is a 1985 Topps Walter Payton. Like I said, I'm going to go through and get all of the years graded and maybe make a display kind of similar to the one I've got for my Cliff Branch stuff going on up there, but those aren't graded. I do have a bunch of graded Cliff Branch, but they didn't fit in this display. Then a couple of autographs, Joe Montana, Emmett. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program. This Walter Payton 1985 Topps, it really didn't look like it was in that great a condition, but it's the only one I had, so I went ahead and sent it in. Actually, you can tell the centering is really off on the back, and it got a 5. Yeah, the 1985 Topps cards, excuse me, they were tough to grade anyway, with just having the completely black border. And this one, excuse me, this one was not in the best shape, like I said, but it is in a holder now, so we deal with it. Warren Moon rookie card, 1985 Topps. Again, pretty tough grades on these usually, and this one gets a 6. Probably got some white edges, white corners. See a little mark up there. That's not on the case, that is on the card. I hope that was there when I sent it in. I do have my doubts, but all right, we've got the last 3 in this order, and these were the 1987 Topps. We've got the Randall Cunningham rookie card here. You get an 8.5. Not too shabby. we've got Herschel Walker rookie card. This one gets a 9. So that's awesome. We got 2 9s, and that Ricky Henderson 9.5 so far. Not bad. Jim Kelly, take you out of your little baggie real quick like. So 1987 Topps Jim Kelly rookie, and we get an 8.5. So that's not too bad on those 87s. Like I said, I didn't expect much higher than a 7 or 8 on any of these cards. But to get a stack like this for the 8.5s, and then a couple of 9s and a 9.5, I'm pretty pleased with this order. You know, I had a comment on a video earlier recently that talking about gym rates, and you know, I just made a joke back like I don't ever concern myself with the gym rates because I just assume there's not going to be any gyms. So I want to see my 8 and 9 rates. And so this one, where you going, Ricky? Well, hang out. You can come down here with the rest of you guys. But anyway, so that's this order, and I had a good time checking out the grades on these. Like I said many times, I wasn't expecting 10s, 9s, anything like that. So I'm very pleased with what we got, and it was pretty fun looking back through all these older cards. My next SGC order should be in tomorrow. Fingers crossed. I submitted them at the same time. They were supposed to be delivered to me on Monday, but then there was some holdup for whatever reason, and one of them got delayed until tomorrow. The other one was delivered today, Thursday. So I'll get that video out whenever those cards come in. That one's going to be more what I consider junk wax era. It's got a bunch of Emmitt Smith Pro Set, 1990 Pro Set rookie cards that PSA didn't grade. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully they do come in tomorrow and they don't get delayed another day or two. But I do appreciate you stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.